Verena, could you mute your mic, Verena? Thank you. Yes, yes. Actually, that's why we are focusing on this kind of available data set that could help us to understand the several phenomena on our continent. So how shall we get continent-wide EO data so that you could inform the decision-making across all sectors? So, but also we are aware that there's a need for capacity building, that you need several stories, and also those impact stories that doesn't require to be big projects. Even a small snap of a degraded area could be there's awareness for decision makers, but also several publications could come out of these datasets. So this is an inclusive platform where we leave no one behind, depending we are gender, region inclusive, and it doesn't require to be to have a high university degree or not. It requires time and will to contribute to the development of our continent. So this is the vision of the Africa. It's to provide the routine level data sets and operational services that could help decision makers to address several problems, social economy, and the ecosystem across all sectors on the continent. And we are focusing mostly on land degradation, coastal erosion, urbanization, water resources and the flood risk, agriculture and the food security. You could see those are all aspects that could link the human life and environment for the well-being. And of course, these data sets are in line with several SDGs from let me put my pointer. Yes, from zero hunger to life on land. So it means from food production to clean environment for the well-being of people. So the Africa to have all those services and interface platforms and data sets didn't work alone. It has several partners on the African continent. Here is South African Space Agency, SANISA. Now it hosts the Continental Project Management Office, PMO. We have RCMRD in Kenya. This, Rwanda is part of RCMRD. So, and it's governed by Nkurunziza Emmanuel Rwandese, and Rwanda contributes a lot to its sustainability. So, agreement in Niger, Afrigist in Nigeria, Centre de suivi écologique in Senegal, Observatoire du Sahara et du Sahel in Tunisia and Afrigio. All those institutions are on the board, are working closer with the Africa for data processing and validation, even developing some use cases that have become success stories on the continent. So the Africa, how does it work? It is dealing with the space agencies, especially USGS and ENSA, European Space Agency, and they try to analyze their data. So in order to make them free to everybody, so they don't ask you whether you want to use them for commercial, non-commercial, be commercial or not. You are using them for free, and also you can access them on web or even via several interfaces. But always it is to answer some problem related to SDGs, and depending upon your area of interest, you can do some analysis. Someone interested in urbanization could use the urban monitoring tool. Someone interested in mining could use the mining notebook. Someone interested in vegetation could. It depends upon your domain. So as I said, we are using mostly 2 satellites. We are using Sentinel from European Space Agency. It has a 10-meter resolution, spatial resolution, and also 5 days temporal resolution. This is among the best satellites medium resolution free available data sets on the globe, but it started from 2017 until now. Also using USGS data sets, we have the Landsat. It's in 30-meter resolution with a lower temporal resolution, but also it is a large coverage from 1980s to nowadays. You can proceed there. So all the data are already processed and are available via the Africa interface. So those are several services: water observation from space, GeoMAD, and crop mask. So those are products that are available on the Africa interface. And I think Vena could share the link there so that everyone could view the product depending upon the time. So this is an extent of water extraction from space. Of course, they are produced from Landsat. They have 30-meter resolution from 1980s to nowadays, and they were validated across the whole continent. And this product could be either accessed via the Africa web map, or could be processed via machine learning in our sandbox, depending upon the target or even the skills of the user. So we have also what you call annual GeoMAD. This GeoMAD is the product that is only available on the Africa interface. It is a kind of combining images for either the whole year, that's annual GeoMAD, or the 6 months, that's semi-annual GeoMAD. And we try to do an average for all pixels and try to also to mask clouds. And those are good resolution imageries. They are resolution ready data sets. And from them, you can do several annual, even large term change, and also monitor vegetation, water, urbanization, crops, and so on. So now we have both at 10-meter resolution from Sentinel and 30-meter resolution for Landsat. So this is an example of annual GeoMAD, Sentinel-2 annual GeoMAD. On the left side, that's how it looks. This is statistically valid. It's a cloud image, but before processing it, it shows spectral variability across the year. Each day has its frequency depending upon the cloud cover and so on. But after averaging, this is the image you could see, which is smooth, that could be useful for a several phenomenon. So you can access it on our the Africa map. You can explore it, try to share thoughts and live stories through the Africa, even download or connect it to the GIS softwares to do more analysis. So those are examples of some GeoMADs. They are nice images that could be used to analyze several phenomena on the continent. So we have also a good product, which is crop mask. This crop mask is available for the whole continent, and also it was validated, very well validated. You can see like 20,000 points for validation, 10,000 for training, and so on. It is a highly accurate map that could show either crop mask, but also it could also show the probability of cropping. You know, we have areas with the crops, but we also have areas with high probability of cropping. So this could be helpful for both monitoring the crop coverage, but also planning for crop extension in the coming years. So all those links are to our Dear Africa maps, Sandbox, database map services, and also notebook repository which is called JupyterHub. All those interfaces, you could access them, and each interface could show you how to proceed further. So another interesting thing is that those platforms don't require you to be a JS expert or a developer. On our map interface, you can interactively do some preliminary or few analysis and visualize changes over time in a given area. But someone with advanced knowledge could also try to explore the metadata, see data that are available, go to the geoportal and try to do some few analysis. But even someone who's advanced in machine learning could jump to a Sandbox and try to do further analysis. But it doesn't require to be an expert in Python. Myself, I'm not. But all codes are there, so it's a matter of customizing them. Even for some of them, we could only change maybe the XY coordinates to specify your area of interest, and to be a matter of learning, and also, of course, being able to interpret the output of what you've run. So this is an example of our Dear Africa map service, where you could view product, the annual GeoMAD, Sentinel, and datasets. You could also view the crop mask. You could also view the surface reflectancy, the water observation from space. All products are there. You can view them. You can compare several edges. You can also do exchange detection and see how a given area has been behaving over time. So, but also we have, you can also try to link the Africa products and services to our classic softwares, especially QGIS and also ArcGIS for further analysis. So the idea is to make everything as easy as possible, that everyone could access datasets and use them without any difficulty. So in the Africa Sandbox, this is a Python-based interface. So there, it requires you to log in, of course, because it requires to give you access to the server, even space to the server. Not you could do some computation when you run code, but through those existing notebooks with the already developed Python codes, you can run and analyze several phenomena. Here it's an example of crop health monitoring. So where we are comparing two plots, the one in yellow, the other in blue, and we could see how those crops have been behaving. Those two fields have been behaving over time, and someone could say, draw some conclusions, maybe low quantity of fertilizer, even some, and so on and so on. So it depends upon if it is rice, water shortage in one block compared to another, and so on. So through this Dear Africa Sandbox, you could analyze several phenomena and try to draw conclusions. And this doesn't require you to be an expert. Once again, it's a matter of following existing steps, because data already pre-processed, masks were crowds were masked, and GeoMAD were produced. So it's a matter of following. But how can everyone get involved? So this doesn't leave anyone behind. So we have researchers, as most of you in this platform, who could access those data sets. We have also implementers. People want to know the status or the project they're implementing. They have the baseline. They are compared to the progress and see if they are meeting the target or not. We have the developers, just experts, domain experts. Of course, each one has a domain of expertise. A civil engineer, agriculture engineer, or a conservationist, and so on, don't require the same tools. So decision makers, of course, they would always like to know the area of high priority compared to the other, but also try to monitor if technicians are following the guidelines. So communication specialists, this is a big challenge on our continent. We are producing a lot of things and we think we are keeping them under our desks. So the Africa is making sure that whatever everyone is doing using Earth observation should be communicated to the audience. Once again, it doesn't require to be a high impact publication. Even if you do a change analysis, change detection of, let's say, an area under degradation. So it should be raise our awareness and try to call for action, and decision makers could do something. So everyone here could be on board and use the Africa datasets. So how? There are some use cases. We have many people doing researches using the Africa datasets. So we have one for giraffe and wildlife monitoring in Kenya, the other in lake water monitoring in Botswana, the others in Ghana for mining, the other in coastal monitoring in Senegal. Actually, we have around 100 use cases which have been successful using the Africa datasets. But also product development and validation. You know, to validate those remote sensing datasets, we need local expertise, and also we need validation datasets. So the Africa partners and IPs have been providing several datasets for validation, even some expertise. Capacity development, so that people, when we start by the university, it's like we want people know data sets are available, they could know how to use them, and also extend to the rest of other people. So the target is that there is a training for people who would like to use these data sets, and we are always accompanying technically the team. Of course, communication, whatever we leave in our desk, under our desk, has been, it's a kind of resource in the time wasted on it. It's better to do a small thing, but make sure it's disseminated to the public. So now you could see some use cases and some opportunities for Rwanda and the whole region. So this is what I was saying for you in Lake Baringo. It was facing several threats, and the wildlife, especially giraffes, were under danger. And through the Africa data set, we're able to track changes, land cover and water changes for decision making, the conservation, and now it has been a successful story. So I think Vena could share also the video, YouTube video with the public, someone could see after. And this is an example of the time series monitoring in Lake Baringo in Kenya, where the vegetation was monitored, even the water extent was monthly monitored, and to see some area of water shortage, of dryness as indicators when it becomes alarming. Of course, need that decision makers should take some decisions so that the wildlife, especially giraffes there, won't be could not be threatened. So as I said, we have several products. This is water observation from space, produced from Landsat imaging, and it's from 1980 to nowadays. It is available for the whole African continent. So I use it to take an example for Rwanda. And on the left, it is Akagera Park, that region. And you could see in blue, those Akagera lakes, those are permanent water. While in reddish, they are what you call layer water. It means that those water bodies are found maybe in wetlands or are seasonal, depending upon the flooding time or not. So on the right side, you could see Kigali and all the Nyabarongo wetland. You could see most all the water there is temporal, it's not permanent. It means that the water in that wetland is mostly visible during rainy season where there are floods. So all those products are here, and we can always do a change detection to see what areas of flooding or not. For example, someone in biodiversity conservation could be interested on the coverage of vegetation cover in the area, but someone in disaster could be interested maybe in the flooding event in the area. So it will depend upon the need of everyone. So, but also you can also use some vegetation monitoring tool available in the Africa Sandbox. So this is NDVI vegetation monitoring in Kinigi, Musanze, between July 2013 and November 2017. As you see, the reddish color is the low NDVI, the greenish color is the higher NDVI. You know that NDVI varies from 0 to 1 actually. So, no, from -1 to 1 actually. So, and we could read that in 2017 NDVI was higher compared to 2013. We can say yes because there are several conservation efforts in Kinigi, but when you try to interpret, in July we have a dry season, while in November we have rainy season. So the increase might be obvious due to the difference in the seasons. And that's why we always need to complement the available data set with the local expertise and also some field validation. So through the Sandbox, also we could also do some statistical analysis and see which are statistical changes. So we could say 71% of the area has been changing in any direction, but 13% has undergone deforestation. So all those things could be done via Sandbox because data are always processed. So this is also the crop mask. As I say, this is for the southern province, for Huye to Gisagara, and it's also always available freely on the Africa maps and through Sandbox. It is very accurate, of course, and it could show both copied area and areas with high probability of copying. So this also could help people to minimize time. People in agricultural sector help them to minimize time to process several data sets, which are time consuming. So we know that all these people could see and say, no, I'm not just expert, but it doesn't require to be an expert. There is a user training which could take you through all stages. It is a step-by-step training with almost 7 sessions: how to process datasets, how to make composite like that GeoMAD, what are indices which are useful in our daily life, because you know water monitoring indices are not the same as vegetation monitoring or soil monitoring or and so on. So there are several indices to analyze the vegetation change, which might be very useful even for our domain as natural resource management, biodiversity conservation, water extent. But most importantly, we have a small session on Python basics that could help us to understand more the codes that have been used. And also now we are putting another session on the use, the connection, or the basic of GIS and the QGIS and the Python for GIS, because we saw that most of people on the African continent still relying on classical softwares, especially GIS and QGIS. So, and those sessions are available in English and in French, depending upon the region. So it doesn't require any fees. It's a matter of signing up, and you could also use whichever language you want. It's a self-paced, free to access, and free online. We have recorded videos, tutorials. We have exercises, and you could take like 6 to 10 hours per content, and also at the end you get a certificate. So it should be a 6 weeks training, but depends upon how fast you are, because for other people could take even 1 week. So it depends upon the time dedicated to this training. And of course, everything is being updated because this interface is being accessed by several people. But you can go to the Africa website at digitalafrica.org. But also you can register for our newsletter. But also we have a weekly live session. We had one at 1 p.m. time of Kigali 2 hours ago. And of course, you can get to the Africa through email. And so there's a kind of success story. Almost 1,000 had been using the Africa Sandbox. This was in 1 month ago. Certificates, 150 certificates were awarded. And today was our 57th live session 2 hours ago. And we plan to increase the network. So also there is a help desk, so where you could, when you are stuck working using the Africa datasets, or also trying to get more knowledge or train our community, you can register there, and it's always free, and you don't leave anyone behind. Yeah, this, of course, we thank all partners here, especially you who are here today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joseph. I'd like to request that everyone who has a question or comment can write it in the chat room or unmute himself or herself. Then I can give her or him the space to talk. I can see Toferi's hands is in the air, and I can welcome him. Toferi, can you unmute yourself and say something? Yes.
Thank you, Joseph, for this good presentation.
Sorry to feel I wrote you somewhere.
Yeah, maybe his internet is not working well. But everyone who has a question or comment can continue to write it in the chat room or raise the hand. Maybe
Sorry.
we will come to yes. I see
So
you are there. You are welcome.
I was saying that it were highly costly to monitor the health of crops, but with this system, I've seen that it had become easy. So I would like to know if the level of persons who can use this definitely can access it, or if it is for decision makers. Thank you.
Okay, Teofil. Actually, I guess that Teofil I know is working for, I think, USAID in somewhere in Rwanda. So Teofil, this doesn't require you to be a decision maker. What you need is to dedicate time on it. All data sets are free, available. It's a matter of logging into the Africa dataset. You can analyze whatever you want, and you can use it however you want, being for commercial purpose or being for NGOs and so on. For the Africa, data should always be used for the welfare of the population of the continent. Thank you, Tofi. All right, can you go through?
Thank you, Joseph. I'm very satisfied.
Yeah, I can lead for you those questions in the chat room. The first says, you said that the GeoMAD can be used to analyze surface water. What is the difference or benefits of using a GeoMAD versus the water observation and the space data? That's the question from Adrienne.
So Adrienne, there is no big difference. It's up to someone to decide upon which approach you wanna go through, because using the water observation from space or using the GeoMAD, it depends upon the indices you are going to use. So it doesn't, there is no big difference. It's the level of precision of the computer literacy or the expertise in water monitoring you have.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you, Joseph. Yeah, and thank you for your presentation. It was really great for you to come and introduce us to this wonderful tool and all of these resources. I'd love to ask one more question, if that's okay.
That's fine.
So with the crop masking data set, I was curious about the accuracy of that data in terms of differentiating between cropland and natural habitat, or even things that are kind of in between, where it might be an abandoned field or a fallow, something that might be difficult. I'm wondering if those are categories within the data, or if that's just something that needs to be considered, that's a potential conflict.
Thank you, Adrienne. Actually, this is a highly accurate data set, because for the eastern of Africa, it was around 92% accurate. But what we do, we could read that there's still some imperfection, especially in urban areas, where some gardens are considered to be considered as a cropland. But for someone forecasting in cropped areas, the accuracy was very high, actually. So in the urban areas, there could be still some imperfection, but in large forests and also cropland, that worked very well.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Joseph.
Welcome, Audrey.
Yeah, thank you, Joseph. Obed said, very interesting. We are glad to have the Africa in CoEB. We will use it in different projects like for mapping, land use, and land cover maps. And there is another question from Jean-Paul Hirwa. He said, with presentation, Joseph, have you checked whether the data of Volcanoes National Park are cloud-free? This has always been a challenge to us.
Okay, thank you, Jean-Paul. I actually, that's the most curious and interesting thing from our GeoMAD, because imagine the Landsat imagery is available every 6 days at Volcanoes National Park, and when we are producing an annual GeoMAD, we are having like 335 divided by per 6. How much? I think almost 60 images, and we are trying to average each pixel and make an average to a mean value while masking all clouds. So through the annual GeoMAD you have, I could assure you we have a cloud-free image for Volcanoes National Park. So I could share, I could discuss a bit, but yeah, now I can say we have.
Yeah. I'd like also to say that we wanted to hear from every participant here. There is a Google Sheet in the chat room, and we requested that you can go there and write your contacts and also say something about this presentation. Did you like it? At which level or at which degree? Thank you very much. Also, I'd like to give room for more comments or questions. Please unmute yourself and say something or type your question or comment in the chat room. Yes.
So, Lieutenant, here there is a question in the chat. Dear Joseph, did you mean that everyone who wants to be trained can write to you through that email you provided? Actually, this is not my email because myself I'm not the Africa.
Yeah,
is an institution. So whenever you could go to the Africa website, we could see where you could learn, where it is written learn, you could register and start the training. So it doesn't require to write an email. When you are stuck, you can write an email, but you can log in immediately and start the training. So it doesn't require to actually to send an email. So thank you.
you're welcome. Also, I have another question for you, Joseph.
Yes.
At the beginning, you mentioned some satellites by which we can find images from them. And I'm wondering if those satellites are all free. Are those images found for free?
Yes.
That's my question.
So actually, Sentinel and Landsat are providing free images, but as Jean-Paul raised the issue, they are mostly clouds. There's a lot of clouds. They require intensive work for pre-processing from some radiometric correction and cloud masking. So several techniques. Also, might require some advanced infrastructure, especially the capacity of your computer and so on. So they are free, but the condition that you should be able to do some prior processing before you use them. So what the Africa did, it's to process all the images and try to make them to the public. And you know, most of the companies that are processing images are saying you could register. Are you going to use them for commercial or not? If it's commercial, some conditions. If for teaching or learning or humanitarian, some conditions. But for the Africa, they're available. We know, being commercial or not, the everything is for the African continent, for the welfare of Africans. That's the idea behind it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Welcome.
Ernestine said, great presentation. Thank you very much, Joseph. And also somebody says, thank you very much, Joseph, for your great presentation. I'm glad to hear that we can have a cloud-free image on Virunga Massive. Also, Betty said, thank you very much, Joseph, for good presentation. The Africa is, I saw it is a more useful platform which will be used in different activities related to mapping. So, could you help us to make clarification about image resolution used in the DE Africa?
Yes, of course. Obed, actually, we have two satellite imageries. The first one is a Sentinel image from ENSA, European Space Agency, which has 10 meter. It varies from 10 to 20 meter resolution depending upon the band, but we are focusing on 10 meter resolution bands. And the other one is in the Landsat from 5 to 8, and hopefully we get the 9 because the satellite was launched last time. And this also has 30 meter resolution, but it's an advantage that it was launched earlier from 1980s to nowadays. Actually, it's over my age. So, and for Sentinel, so it started soon, I think 2017 until nowadays. So it's like almost 5 or 4 years old. So each satellite has its advantage in terms of spatial and temporal resolution. Sentinel is better, but in terms of large temporal coverage, Landsat is better.
Okay, great. Hilary said, thank you, Joseph. A really interesting presentation. 30 meter resolution is very useful, especially over time. Yeah, it is, I hope.
Yes. Okay, thank you, Hilary. Just thanking Hilary for her comments.
Yeah, and the Method said, very happy for this seminar. Yeah, thank you very much, Method. Anyone who has another question? I invite you to unmute yourself if you want.
Vina and the team, so we'll really appreciate if we get your comments, even your address on the Google Sheet I have shared in the chat, because this will help us not only to improve what we do, but also to make sure that we keep you in your loop. And as you know, Rwanda's becoming a digital hub in the region, and I think also this will be very useful for the whole team, even the whole project. Thank you.
Yeah, any other question or comment? I can maybe give some time for filling the sheet, or anyone here can copy or just open it, then it can stay there even when the meeting was closed, and then fill it. I can see few people have already filled it, and I hope others are also filling it. Please do that quickly, so you don't lose the link when we close the meeting. Placide says it was so interesting. Thanks, dear Joseph. Yeah. Another thing I wanted to mention is that anyone who wanted to be on the mailing list for these weekly research seminars can also paste or write his or her email in the chat room. Also, I'd like to invite other people here who wanted to give a talk in our seminars, just to write to me or Jocelyn, and then we put you on the schedule. I know you are all doing great jobs where you are. We're doing research or interesting activities. We can learn and benefit from you, or an idea we can brainstorm together and have additional insights. Please, you're welcome. And I think we can close the meeting now. And I really thank you, Joseph, for this great presentation. It is very helpful, and we need those data in our daily work, especially in natural resource management. And I hope each one of us will use knowledge you just give us in this talk, and anyone who has a question can reach it to you in days to come, or go to the Digital Africa website and learn more about how we can use temporal spatial data for his work or her work. Thank you very much also for all participants here. See you next Wednesday at 3 p.m. as usual.
Okay, thank you, Venant and the team. It was my pleasure to be here on this platform. And so I'm here in Rwanda. Everyone is, of course, whenever you need, let me know. I'm ready to help. My office is here at CST. It's in Nyarugenge campus. So whenever I need, you can get in touch. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye, everyone. See you next week.
Okay, bye.